Hi guys, Michael from First Aid Oz again, and we're looking at snake bite. Okay, this time of the year, being summer, lots of snakes about, and Australia with many of the most venomous snakes in the world. It is serious consideration when you're out there, playing in the fields or in the long grass or anywhere near waterways and things like that, or if you're living out in the suburbs, or in regional areas, that there are lots and lots of snakes about. With development of expansion of suburbs as well, it mobilises snakes. So even in residential areas where you don't normally expect to find snakes, they'll often turn up. So I guess the key thing with snake bite is to understand a few things. Number one is that even though we have the most venomous snakes, some of the most venomous snakes in the world, very few people in Australia actually die from snake bite. And the reason for that is that we have a very good anti-venom system and anti-venom treatment, if you like. However, for that to occur, we need to get the person off to medical attention as soon as possible. Most people who die from snake bite in Australia usually die because either they don't know they've been bitten, okay, so it's not always overly painful, or they experience a long delay between getting bitten and being able to seek medical attention. Either they're in an isolated area, or they wait until they have symptoms and realise that something's wrong and then go off to get treated. And sometimes if the venom is circulated through the body, well, then it can be problematic. On the subject of which, snake bite, the venom doesn't circulate through the bloodstream, it circulates through the lymphatic system. And the way the venom will travel through the lymphatic system is any body movement, any muscle contraction helps that venom spread. So it's very important that someone who's been bitten by a snake, that you minimise movement as much as possible. Keep them as still as possible, because any movement will spread the venom. Then, to assist keeping the venom in the area where the bite is, as early as possible, we need to use a compression bandage. Okay, so not a crepe bandage, okay, but a compression bandage, which is actually going to hold the limb in shape to help prevent or make it more difficult for the venom to travel through the lymphatic system. Most people, or most adults, get bitten below the knee, okay, so walking through grass or walking around the yard or wherever it might be, and the snake is threatened by you crossing its path, and the snake will effectively bite you to protect itself, okay. With children, again, it's common to be below the knee, but also a higher percentage in the arm and other areas as well. Being perhaps more curious in nature, they think perhaps the snake is friendlier than it is, and they go to touch the snake or grab the snake. Bear in mind also that snake bite is not always limited to venomous snakes, because non-venomous snakes also bite. The only difference is they don't have venom. So some people think snakes are very safe, okay, but every snake can potentially bite you, including those that we don't associate with snake bite. But of course the ones that have the venom are the ones that become life-threatening. With any other sort of bite, you need to consider it's still a bite. You still need to treat it as something that's potentially infectious. So you need to clean it, you need to dress it, and you need to seek medical attention. All right, but let's limit ourselves for the point of this discussion to snake bite in the case of where the snake is venomous. So brown snakes, tiger snakes, those sort of things are most common out here. But be aware in your particular area what the more common snakes are. All right, so compression bandage is reasonably thick, it's elastic, okay, and it's very important for the treatment of snake bite, and we're going to show you that in a moment. All right, so we have a situation here where the person has been bitten by a snake, and normally we said it's in this lower limb area. So what you'll notice is perhaps a couple of puncture marks in the leg, and often there'll be some bleeding as well. So if there's bleeding, which there will be if the snake's got hold, we can put a bandage on this as we would for any other bleed. The only thing is, I would say, is don't clean the wound as you would with other wounds, because we actually want to use the venom so that they can determine which anti-venom to give for which particular type of snake. All right, so that would be the one exception, but you could put a bandage over the top if you wanted to. Important thing though is this compression bandage. We have to bandage the whole limb. So we start down at the foot, okay, and we make sure that we get good purchase here. We keep the toes exposed because we can determine, you know, whether there's been any blockage of blood flow or it's too tight, if you like. Now we try to overlap the bandage between half to a third, okay, as long as there's overlap, okay, not too tight that it's too constricting, but understand that we're using a compression bandage because we want it to be fairly firm, okay, and we want to go all the way up the limb, okay, all the way up, sorry, all the way up the limb. This is one we demonstrated on earlier, okay, and overlap. If you were to run out of bandage, perhaps this one's quite a long one, so we won't run out, but if you were to run out, you tie it off, you get another bandage, you overlap again, and you start, and then you continue up the limb. Now this is going to go all the way up to the hip. All right, we're probably going to stop just a little short of that, okay, but nice firm compression, okay. When we got to the top, okay, we would take the bandage here, okay, let's imagine we got all the way to the top, and we would just tuck it in, okay, so let's imagine it's all the way to the hip. Nice firm compression. We would get a marker, maybe put an X at the site where the bite was. That just helps the doctors to be able to quickly access the site area, the bite area if you like. And the person needs to remain still as much as possible, which means that if we need to carry them to the car, or you know, if somehow transport them, we may need more than one person to help move them, rather than get them to, you know, to hop off or walk to a long distance and so on. If worse comes to worse, if the person was showing some symptoms of being ill, okay, we would call 000, because the ambulance would probably come to us quicker than we would get them off to medical attention. All right, so some of those symptoms may be nausea, eventually loss of consciousness and so on. We don't want to leave this unattended for any length of time. We want to get the medical attention as quickly as possible. All right, so that's our snake bite.